Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 704 once again for episode 213 of the 815 Exchange. And well, I'm recording on a Monday. I'm really recording this today. It feels like old times. It feels like old times because, ladies and gentlemen, first off, happy Labor Day. Alright, hope everybody's enjoying their day off. I personally, shout out to my company, got Friday off as well, so it's been a 4-day weekend. So yeah, we've been making the most of that. But yes, all right, we do have plenty to attend to today, don't we? All right, because and that was one of the benefits of this coming out on a Monday is I get to talk my, okay, I get to talk my, especially about what happened in college football, especially about what happened last night. So we gonna get to that. I'm very excited about that. But we do have some stuff to talk about in entertainment. We get to talk about industry. The right after it happened and that just kind of being uncut gems last night. What else? Everything that happened in racing last week. And of course, the W is getting a main subject. It's going to be a main segment this week. So yeah, plenty to talk about as always. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, everything you're looking for can be found in my description. Or timestamps, as always, are provided in the video, so you can skip ahead if you can't wait. You want to skip through this intro. You just want to hear me talk about that USC LSU game or whatever else happened in college football this week, or you want to hear me talk about Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell being the Splash Sisters. Whatever you need can be found, like I said, in the description, or timestamps are embedded in the video. Long form content. I get it, but yes, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, get comfy, all right? Football's back, so we might have a little length on this one. And by the way, the NFL is back next week. But for now, we're kicking off, as we always do here in the fall, with CFB. Yes. And before I get to USC, let's go down the slate, shall we? Let's kick it off with Georgia and Clemson, because boy, oh boy. Yeah, I'm not even going to build this up. Yeah, Georgia took care of them boys. 34-3. A lot of people called this, but I was a little bit on the fence. I wanted to see how Georgia was going to react. I wanted to see how Clemson was going to be this year, if they could make some strides and, revert to the Clemson we saw for a period of time during the Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence era. Could they get back to that dominance? The answer was a resounding no. Because, to put it very simply, the game has come and it has gone past that Clemson program, and the game has come and the game has gone past Dabo Swinney, it appears. And I can't even put this, even though Georgia ends up, at 34-3, I can't put this loss on the defense. They went toe-to-toe. The Clemson defense looked fine for the majority of this game, looked perfectly fine. But at a certain point of offensive incompetence, it's going to break. The dam is going to break eventually. And at that point, the floodgates just opened. Clemson's offense was putrid. Terrible. Unfortunately, Cade Klubnik is not that guy. Now, credit to the Georgia defense, which looks as daunting as ever. Jalen Walker, NC native, had 6 tackles, 1.5 sacks. He was very, he looked like that, next great Georgia linebacker. A lot of people have had him tabbed of being, and some say he might be already. But Cade Klubnik is just not that guy. He's just not that guy, and I can't fully put it on Cade because I think this stems from larger issues at Clemson, right? I could talk about the portal, which I'm going to, and I'm actually about to talk about. But I think offensively, they have been broken for a while. I think I can even say they were broken, and I may have talked about this when TL was at Clemson. I think it was broken then. I think the offense was broken then. They were having issues when Tony Elliott was calling the shots, and they've never gotten it back. That Clemson team was elevated by the talent that was there, by Trevor Lawrence being that good of a quarterback. He made up for the lack of stuff in that offense. ETN being such a good running back. Higgins, Ross, Renfro. They made up for what was a subpar offensive scheme. And now when you don't have those superstars, you see what's happening. Especially against elite teams like Georgia. So, yeah, Clemson's just being exposed. Like I said, the game is come and gone. Dabo, if he wants to last and not just be a flash in the pan, a moment in history, he needs to adapt. And he needs to adapt fast because he is out of time. Simply put, he is out of time. Carson Beck goes 23 for 33, 278, and 2 touchdowns for Georgia in this game. However, Nate Frazier kind of stole the show. I'm not going to lie. The running back out of Mater Dei, arguably the number one running back, depending on how you feel about the rankings last year. There was really no real consensus. But Frazier goes 83 in the touchdown, like I said. He looked like the next one, even brought the celebration back. Looked like that next Georgia running back. Got a shout out from everybody. So yeah, Frazier looked good. Beck looked very good as well. Don't know about him being QB1. Again, Clemson's defense is good. So, we'll see. It's, week 1. But Georgia certainly looks like they are going to be the championship contenders we expect them to be. And Clemson, I really don't know. Honestly, I really don't know what's the impact this loss is going to have. But it was ugly. All right, it was ugly. And yeah, Dabo's insistence on not using the transfer portal and just... I get understanding and establishing your program's nature, but this is college football. It's survival of the fittest. And if you are not the fittest, you will get eaten alive. And that's what happened to the Tigers on, I think it was Saturday, yeah? I think that was 12 o'clock Saturday, so yeah. That's what happened. They weren't the only ones. Yeah. Florida. Yikes. There was a lot of, I don't want to say it was a lot of hype. Nobody was really expecting Florida to be elite necessarily, but certainly better than what we saw in the swamp on Saturday. Miami walks into the swamp, throws up the U, and says, we run it. We run it. Walk in your trap, took over your trap. 41-17. Cam Ward was incredible. All right, Cam was incredible. He was every bit top, transfer quarterback, guy coming out of Washington State. Even though he teetered off a little bit last season, he looked like that star that we saw at Wazoo. He looked even better. All right, Cam Ward looked like, hey, this guy could be a Heisman candidate. 385, 3 TDs, 1 pick for Cam Ward, but still an incredible game from him. Incredible game. Xavier Estropo is going to be one of the best receivers in the country in what appears to be a very loaded receiver field here in college football. 7 receptions, 112, and a touchdown. He is going to feast. With Cam, Ward, and Estropo. That's going to be a special combination. I'm very excited to see what numbers they do throughout this season. Defense. The defense for Miami looked like classic Miami. I'm talking maybe, with respect to those legends on those legendary Miami teams. But hey, it was nearly reminiscent. How much they were dominating against that Florida offense. Even with Ruben Bain, of course, their best player, freshman of the year last year in the ACC, led the team in sacks. Highly regarded player. You probably know him from terrorizing, and being one of the reasons why CFB is so absolutely, by the way, dominant on CFB 25. Consistently a powerhouse. Consistently, especially the early years, they pop off. And Bain's a big reason why. But he gets injured like the first or second play, first series, I think. And he's out for the game. Don't know the length on his injury, if he'll be back next week. But even without Bain, they were still able to get it done. And the U looked like they were back. Mertz was held under 100 yards. I do know he got hurt in this game, but still. Unfortunately, I think DJ Lagway might be starting a little bit earlier than some of y'all thought. Just saying. But yeah, not a good day not a good day for the Gators. Not a good day in the swamp. The U was running the show, and the Hurricanes washed them over. Let's go back. All right, let's go back in time. Let's go back to Thursday because Colorado, of course, one of the headlining teams because of Coach Prime, because of Shedeur Sanders, and because of Travis Hunter. They are always going to be in the headlines. But are they fighting for clicks still? Or are they fighting to be a legitimate team? Unfortunately, they had to play, of all the FCS teams, which, respect, I guess, in a way, of all the FCS teams to play in week 1, the one you probably don't want to play is North Dakota State. The most vaunted, the most prestigious, the most legendary of FCS teams. Yes, the North Dakota State Bison. But Colorado, I don't know, through luck of the draw or, choices of their own, had that in week 1. And how did that go? Well, it wasn't easy. It certainly wasn't easy. And yeah, Colorado has to come through late, but they do get it done. All right, they get it done 31-26. Put a lot of money on this upset happening. Unfortunately for you, my betting people, that did not come true. All right, yeah, that did not come true. Shedeur goes 26 for 34, 340. Oh, excuse me, that's even wrong. 445 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. And the 1 interception, I'm going to be honest, was one of the most unlucky interceptions, literally bouncing off a person's leg and getting it. That's crazy, all right? Absolutely crazy. But Shedeur, stat line looks good. I think he could have played a little bit better, but, you're not going to argue with 445 and 4 touchdowns, all right? Him and, honestly, Dylan Gabriel, who we're going to talk about later with Oregon, had some very nice to look at from a box score perspective stat lines, but it wasn't the best of games, and I think Shedeur played much better than DG, but we'll talk about that when we talk about that. But yeah, Sanders shows all the things that, makes people think, he could be a top quarterback prospect and is a top quarterback prospect, but also showed those elements of things that you still want to see him better, and maybe we see him get better over the course of the season. Travis played everything except for, 2 snaps in this game, which is ridiculous. The man is inhuman. All right, he looked like a mutant in this game. 7 receptions, 132, and 3 touchdowns. I know we always have been saying he's cornerback 1, but at a certain point, is the receiver tape starting to look better than the cornerback tape? And he looked better at cornerback, by the way, in this game. Much better, physically. I don't know if he's developed as much, from an eye perspective, like looking at him, but he played with much more physicality in this game from the cornerback position, tackled a lot better. We didn't have as much as Deion Sanders syndrome of being that great cover, having those great ball skills, but not being as effective in that, run. He had a lot of run support plays that I think he made defensively that I was impressed with. So yeah, this was a fantastic game from Travis Hunter. He looked like the best player in college football. So yeah, shout out to Trav. He killed it. Jimmy Horn Jr. continues to feast as that number 2 option for Shedeur. 7 receptions, 198, and a touchdown. He was a monster. Cam Miller looked like Caleb Williams in the pocket. I'm not going to lie. Colorado's defense had him looking like Caleb in the pocket. It was giving me flashbacks. He had a very efficient game. 18 for 22, 358 total, 277 of that passing, 81 of that rushing. He also had 3 touchdowns, 1 passing, 2 rushing. Very good game from Cam Miller. And honestly, I think it's a game that bodes very, very well for North Dakota State. Interesting calls at the end. Maybe they go that way. North Dakota State might pull off the upset. So, yeah, I think it bodes well for them, bidding for their own championship at the FCS level. But Colorado does, at the very least, survive the scare against the most dominant program in FCS history. Notre Dame, all right, this was the headlining College Game Day, was in the building in Texas A&M. Johnny Football, and he's the guest picker. Nick Saban made his debut on College Game Day, which was great, honestly. It was one of the most enjoyable College Game Days, even though I haven't been as out on College Game Day as a lot of people. But yeah, I like Saban's addition. I don't know, he works. It's cool seeing, and it might just be the novelty of seeing Saban in kind of that light after we've seen him as, Nick Saban for so long. So yeah, Notre Dame and Texas A&M was a very defensive game. Marred by some of the ugliest quarterback play I have seen. Now, credit to the defenses, like I said, but boy, oh boy, was this ugly. Riley Leonard, yikes. Connor Weigman, even worse. All right, for who was supposed to be a 5-star, the next one at Texas A&M, even worse. The man was getting called. I remember y'all were saying this might be the number 1 quarterback. I think he was ranked at some point as the number 1 quarterback in the class. He definitely did not like it. Did not at all look like that in the game yesterday. Or, yeah, should I say Saturday. But, yeah, it was grim. All right, it was grim. Hard watch. Notre Dame, though, gets the win. 23-13. Jeremiah Love, another CFP 25 legend, because he becomes a monster in Dynasty. If you didn't know and don't have to face the abyss that is Notre Dame on Dynasty, he becomes a monster. And yeah, he's that guy in real life too. He had 91 yards and a touchdown. And of course, that big touchdown was the one that put them ahead with, I think, 150 or 140 to go. 21-yard, pretty much game sealer. So yeah, Notre Dame gets it done in Texas A&M. Yeah, wasn't a great start for Mike Elko. Not the end of the world, but not a great start. And yeah, Weigman has to play better. All right, maybe some of that was, the Fighting Irish defense, but yeah, got to play better because that was ugly. So very ugly. It is time. It is time. Oh, it is time. It is time. Oh, I've been waiting on this. Oh, how I have been waiting on this. Because I had to hear all off season how USC can't play defense. How Lincoln Riley can't coach. He's the most overrated coach in America. All I can do is, He can coach quarterbacks, and he can't even really recruit quarterbacks, right? He has to have these quarterbacks of his, previous successors, and then, he makes it work with them. He's a glorified offensive coordinator. That's what I had to hear. I had to hear USC is soft. They're going to drown in the Big Ten. I had to hear that. Oh, with no Caleb, it's over. It's finished. USC is going to the cellar. That's what I had to hear all offseason. Oh, LSU's going to kill them. You saw what they did. You saw how good Nussmeier is. Imagine what LSU's going to do to USC. Oh, they just dropped the greatest hype video, which, by the way, greatest hype video I've ever seen. All right, by the way, the greatest I've ever seen in my life. At the college football level, I'll say at least. All right, the best one. Now, maybe some historical inaccuracies, but it was still so very good. So very good. As a fellow editor, respect. But, had to hear, this is just going to be like, when they played Bama all those years ago and then got blown out after they were getting hyped in the tunnel. This is the version of that. I had to hear all of that. Then Will Campbell, great tackle, by the way, future NFL player, maybe even star, talking about, we're coming for a fight. Bet. That's what I got to say today. Bet. Because last night, we both walked into Vegas, and if it was a fight, LSU went down, and they stayed on the canvas. Because USC gets it done 27-20. And I want to hear what y'all have to say now. What do you have to say about Miller Moss? Huh? Can he be the successor? Or do you realize that maybe Lincoln Riley is just that guy, and maybe he is the quarterback developer that the people say he is? You're right. Yeah, he is. He's that guy. And guess who else is that guy? Miller Moss is that guy. 378 and a touchdown in some of the best ball placement I have seen. Some of the throws. Coming through the barrel. LSU bringing pressure. Offensive line wasn't flawless yesterday for SC, I will say. But Miller Moss still held it down in that pocket, was firing off all day. Kyron Hudson made some of the best catches of the year. All right, that one-handed catch, gorgeous. If that's not the, title pick, then, maybe it was something else. But yeah, very big candidate. It might be the pick that you're seeing right here. But yeah, he played a great game. Mr. Woody Marks, welcome to SC. 68 and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. Because you know what? Flawless two-point for perfection. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see how to run the 2-minute drill, look back at what USC did to LSU yesterday. It was incredible. Now, of course, I do have to give a shout out, of course, to Major Burns and Sage, and Sage Ryan for being the MVPs, all right? Besides, Woody, besides the defense who I'm about to get to talking about, and besides Miller, of course, the killer, I got to give a shout out to Major Burns and Sage Ryan because they did bits for us. So I appreciate it. My guy. I do. I really do appreciate it. But Kamari Ramsey, Eric Gentry, Jalen Smith, the defense showed up. D'Anthony, oh my goodness. I love him. I love D'Anthony Lynn. I really do. It is night and day, the USC defense from last year to this year. Night and day. I could barely watch. Because I just knew as soon as the other team got the ball, they were scoring. And I had PTSD yesterday. I was stressed out in this room. My poor roommates, I'm just yelling all over the place. Stressed because I didn't know what to think about the defense. But my DC got me. He said, Ocho, you good. We good. We good this year. Mason Cobb, we good this year. Bear Alexander, we good this year. We actually have a defense, and it is a glorious sight to see. All right? A glorious sight to see. Now, Nuss didn't play a bad game. He had 304, 2 touchdowns, and of course that pick came at the end of the game. He played a fine game. Looked very, very good. I think he's going to be okay. John Emery, by the way, came alive in the third quarter. We eventually quieted him down, which again, credit to our SC defense. But Emery played well as well. Kyron Lacey, even though, he was firing up, he did have 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Aaron Anderson had 5 receptions, 64, and a touchdown. They still have their moments. Don't get me wrong. The LSU offense still have their moments. Look very good. Looked at certain points like they could win this game. But like Brian Kelly said, and maybe it's just a Brian Kelly trait. Because I feel like we say it a lot. They just don't have that killer instinct. They just can't finish people off. They can't. LSU just can't finish. For whatever reason, these Brian Kelly teams just can't finish anybody off. They just can't do it. Pause. But SC goes into Vegas and we get it done and it was glorious. After everything I had to hear about my head coach, about my quarterback, about my offense, and especially about the USC defense and their being able to adapt and play against the SEC and play in the Big Ten. They're not ready. All of that. All those Twitter fingers or Reddit fingers or wherever you were talking. Paul Feinbaum, speak up. Actually, I don't want to hear it. Keep it to yourself. Fight on. Now, let's talk about what else happened. Let's talk about what else happened here to kind of match this up. I'm not going to do a game-by-game basis, so I'm not even going to drop anything off. I'm just going to talk to you. We're going to have a little convo. Yeah, because we got a lot of cover, all right? And not a lot of really great games. It was just a lot of stat padding, but it was some glorious stat padding. But before we get to the good stuff, yeah, Michigan and Oregon, what happened? Michigan is in trouble. I'm not going to lie to you. They play Texas next week, and Texas looked great. Okay, Texas looked like a national championship, maybe even favorite in their week 1 game. Michigan against Fresno State? We don't know if they have a quarterback. I'm not saying Harbaugh left the cabinet like empty, because he didn't. They still got, them players on defense, Mace and, of course, Will Johnson, who had a pick in this game. Pick 6, actually. Yeah, did Will have a pick 6? Yeah, I think he had a pick 6 in this game. But, or he had a pick. At the very least, it was either that. I swear it was a pick 6. I could be wrong. Y'all can let me know. But, it was ugly. That offense was terrible. Donovan Edwards was rendered ineffective. They don't know if it's Alex or David. Like, it was bad. All right? It was Iowa levels. So, they need to fix that. And I don't know if they can do it in a week. It could get ugly. It could get real ugly. We could be throwing up hook 'em horns a lot next week. Because Michigan did not look good. Oregon did not look against Idaho. I heard all offseason about how good Oregon was and how Dylan Gabriel was the Heisman favorite. And they went up and he was Bo Nix. What we thought Bo Nix was, that's what GG was. Yeah, he threw 48 times against Idaho. I'm about to get to Milroe's stat line, and you're going to be like, huh? Against Idaho, and Oregon is supposed to be a superpower this year, and he threw 48 times. 400 yards, but you scored less than 30. What? Like that was, just an ugly, disgusting game from Oregon. Sicko. Absolute sickos. But maybe they figure it out. But yeah, maybe I'm not getting enough. Maybe we're not giving enough credit to Idaho because that was ugly, disgusting. So yeah, 2 top teams, Michigan and Oregon. They won, which hey, a win is a win. But boy, oh boy, did they win ugly. Ole Miss. Honestly, we could have this game could have been an email. What they did to Furman was almost criminal. Okay, an absolute beatdown. 76-0 is how this finished. They were on pace for over 100 points at one point in time. Before they just were like, you know what? Jackson's done enough. He's at 22 for 27, 418 and 5 touchdowns. It's time to take, Jax out of this game. It was getting ugly. Okay, Trey Harris had 8 receptions, 178 and 2 touchdowns, which normally, that's a crazy receiver stat line. But then, we got what T-Mac did this week. 10 receptions, 304 and 4 touchdowns in his own game, breaking the school record for Arizona, which, him and Fafita, one of the best duos. If you didn't know, I guess now you do. Ryan Williams made a great debut. 2 receptions, 139 and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, very Randy Moss-esque for Ryan Williams. Also really cool that, ended your high school career scoring in Bryant-Denny. Started your college career scoring in Bryant-Denny. So, yeah, Ryan Williams looks every bit, the monster that the 17-year-old is supposed to be. So does JJ. All right, he had 6 receptions, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his game for Ohio State. Talking back to the quarterbacks and back to Bama. Milroe went 7 for 9, 200 yards. He also had, 379 and 2? Yeah, 79. Yeah, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 79 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, 279 and 5 touchdowns, and he had 9 attempts for 200 yards. That's the type of game it was. Yeah, Bama looked very, very, very good. Milroe looked very, very good. He could emerge as that, top maybe quarterback prospect, I dare say, if he's cleaned up some of those mechanics and things that I ragged on Milroe. But I think this year, I'm not going to say I'm all in on Jalen, but I do think he's going to be, I think he could be special. I think he could be special. I think he's had the adequate time to develop, and he ended last year really, really well. So I don't think I'm slandering Jalen Monroe as much as I was last year. I think he can make a superstar turn this year. And I think a lot of people think he already is, but, I think we really going to see it this year potentially. Nico, Tennessee, he is one of them ones. All right, he's one of them ones. I know Arch is going to take some time, but the other number one quarterback besides Malachi, there was three, y'all. That's kind of crazy. And y'all all are in very different situations. Arch, by the way, scored his first touchdown in Texas. Arch looks good, but he's waiting behind Quinn. Nico's taking over. It looks like a monster. He had 314 and 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then they took him out. And then you got Malachi Nelson, who can't even get the starting job at Boise State. So, yeah, very, very different. But Boise State did have a good week because Ashton Janetti did prove that he is one of the best RBs in the country. He had 267 and 6 touchdowns. So, yeah, week one had some absolutely insane stat lines, some very disgusting, ugly wins, and some teams proving very fraudulent even here in week one. But it is just week one. So don't hit the panic button yet. But as I said, put some respect on USC's name, all right? Let's do that, okay? Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about entertainment. All right, let's talk about ENT. Industry. Oh my goodness. The stress Rishi's life. Is crazy. All right. Absolutely insane. And by the way, another episode of what I'm saying, and I will stand on, is the best show on television. All right. Industry is unmatched. It was so cool seeing this kind of episode. Like normally we see the episodes from, Eric's Pov, Yaz's Tov, Rob's Pov, or Harper's, right? Those are pretty much the 4 main characters, especially the 3 youngers, right? But seeing it from Rishi, who plays, I'm one of the featured still, but one of the side characters and one of the supporting characters, seeing like his perspective into everything was such a cool view and such a cool way to continue to move the narrative forward and make you care about, even though many people already care about Rishi because he's such a great character, make them care about, the other people in the show. It brings volume, it brings weight to the universe. So beautiful stuff, all right? And it was basically his uncut gems, This man has every addiction possible. A porn addiction, a drug addiction, a gambling addiction. This man just has nothing but addictions, and his job is perfectly set up with him toying with risk all day. It was just a perfect enabler. But yeah, Rishi, off the rails. When he made all of the gambling debt back and then went to the club, partied, got beat up, then took it back to cash in and lost it all, I about lost my mind. I couldn't believe my eyes. All right? I couldn't believe my eyes. It worked out for him for, in the end. Him and his wife, Diana, have a very interesting relationship. Him and Sweet Pea, as expected, did not expect her to be an OF girl. But yeah, industry, absolutely crazy. Best show on television. I'm loving it. Yeah, let's talk music though. All right, let's Seraphim, Drop Crazy. I talked about that this weekend. So if you want to talk about that and see that, feel free to go to that video. Bang Yedam though. He did drop Good Vibes. All right, I didn't know this EP was coming out, but very, very, will never say no to more Yedam. I'm going to give it, I think it was a very solid 8.4. All right, I think it was an 8.4. I think I can put it at that. I wouldn't put it in like my best stuff, but it was still very, very good. And I think it's going to age really, really well. I would say Fallen was my favorite. Off of first listen, my favorite track on the EP. It was only around 6 songs. But yeah, I feel pretty comfortable giving Yedam an 8.4 because I think it's just going to age really, really well. But yeah, good stuff there. Tory continues his prison tapes. We have Basement, which is my favorite of the two. And we have the Appellate Court Freestyle, which, of course, makes sense considering the situation. But yeah, Basement, that was the one for me. But yeah, Tory continues. Again, we don't know if he's building to anything, but, he keeps it going. Drake didn't drop another 100 gigs, so we did have a break. For everybody saying, hey, can Jersey give us a break? There's your break. He did put, however, No Face, minus Cardi, and also Circadian Rhythm did both make it to streaming. So we do have those, and those are firmly placed into the playlist. What else do we have? Aitch dropped Maybach Wallet, continue his singles run, which I'm thoroughly enjoying because the man cannot miss right now. He's got the Midas touch. Aitch, I gotta be building to something, right? Surely has to be building to something. Tecca continues to stay hot. He dropped Bad Time. The man can also do no wrong for me. All right, Lil Tecca can do absolutely no wrong for me. He is becoming one of my favorite artists. I will say it. I will say it here live. Lil Tecca is becoming one of my favorite artists. He is on a great, great run. I am very excited about whatever his next project is because I think he's been fantastic. All right, he's been fantastic. He can do no wrong. He's hitting a certain pocket for me, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So yeah, shout out to Tecca. Let's talk about the W, baby. Let's talk about the W. All right, the Indiana Fever are hot right now. They are scorching hot, as they have been since we came back from the Olympic All-Star break. They go against the Dallas Wings and had to come from behind, but do get the win on the road, 100-93. They are now over 500. This team started off 1-8. People were talking about, Caitlin might not be generational. Kelsey Mitchell's overrated. That was a big one. Yeah, Kelsey Mitchell was overrated. That was a really big one. I almost got close to saying it on here. We ain't saying that too much anymore, though, are we? We really not saying that too much, yeah. It seems like even Christie's size has come around as well. Yeah, Kelsey has 36 in this game. Kate has 28 and 12. They're averaging 28 and 26 apiece post All-Star Olympic break. And the Fever cannot be stopped right now. They have looked incredible. I do have to give a shout out before I start glazing, of course, the Fever. Enrique had 36 and a tiny WNBA record for 9 threes. So again, shout out to the woman should have been on Team USA. Okay? Enrique should have been on Team USA. Now, with that said, let's talk about the team of the hour. Okay? And really the team of the month. With the player of the month in Kelsey Mitchell. But yes, the Splash Sisters. Alright, now I know some people want a more original nickname, but until we come up with that, we are calling them the Splash Sisters. Alright? Kelsey Mitchell has been a bucket her entire life. When she woke up and came out of the womb, she was a bucket. From the moment she could make this motion with her left arm, she has been a bucket, and she is still a bucket. She was a bucket at Ohio State. She's been a bucket at Indiana pre-Kate, and now she's even more of a bucket now with Kate. So yeah, just glorious. All right, glorious. They need to keep her around. I know she's, free agency bound, but Indiana Fever might need to just give her a blank check because she is making herself some money. Caitlin Clark. What else is there to say? And even though I'm about to actually brag about Angel this week, which is a little bit of a change, it's been a minute, but yeah, it's still over. It's not even a conversation. Honestly, it should be unanimous. Respectfully, it should be unanimous. And I'm not going to go into a big tirade about it because I'm going to start following what I'm trying to say. It's not a debate. Respectfully, it's not a debate. But like I said, maybe first team. If she keeps this up, she might be first team. It's honestly a shame that she started off so well. She had to build up a little bit, right? Kate had to build up. She had to heat up a little bit. But she could have broke she's going to break this Eagles season assist record, bar, something falling off. But the average record, she could have broke that from Vandersloot with the way she's been playing in the second half. So yeah, Caitlin, very much so generational and very much so looking like one of the best players in the world already. However, I did say I was going to brag, even though they lost. Okay, the Lynx still won 79-74. Carney Williams had 22. Even though Nafisa didn't go crazy in this game. So credit to the Chicago young duo down low. But, yeah, they still lost. And they've been doing too much of that recently. All right, too much losing for the Sky lately is kind of putting them in jeopardy of not making the playoffs. Cammy, though, has been playing a lot better, 22-9, continues her momentum from last week. Angel had 17-19. She also broke the single-season rebound record. So I saw somebody point this out, and I think it was really cool, how this draft class, even though Gino Auriemma said it's not one of the 10 best we've seen, which is absolute blasphemy, this draft class has been generational because you have the best passer in the league, the best rebounder in the league, and the best shot blocker, even though she's injured. Shout out to Cam. But crazy that happened. All right, and then you could also probably even throw Caitlin in for best, one of the best scorers. But anyways, all right, Angel does get very, very close to another 2020 game. Again, if she gets an offensive bag, she's one of the best bigs in the world. All right, she just has no offensive bag, which, again, having a full offseason might be very, very good for her. I know she's doing Unrivaled, though, but still, somebody get her in the lab and teach her how to, score efficiently, and oh my goodness, she's one of the best players in the world. But yeah, incredible though. Incredible stuff to be a rookie and to break the rebounding record. And in any other situation in which Caitlin Clark does not exist, which again, then Angel might have 2 championships. Angel might be MVP, but or not MVP, Rookie of the Year. Definitely not MVP. We're gonna talk about the MVP actually next. But she might be Rookie of the Year. But unfortunately, Caitlin Clark exists, so that's not happening. But Angel has still had a historic incredible rookie season. So yeah, giving Angel her flowers. She's been incredible, and she's going to be incredible. She's going to break all sorts of rebounding records in this league. Lord willing, she stays healthy. Because yeah, y'all underrated her. That's what happened. Y'all straight up, y'all underrated her, and now she's making everybody pay. The MVP race is over too, which we knew. The Aces finally look like the Aces again, by the way. Absolutely dominate the Mercury 97-79. Asia had 240 balls this week. The last one, which happened yesterday, was 41-17, the first of its kind. So, or I think she's the second ever with Candace. But, Asia. There's nothing else to say. I've said it literally the whole year. She's the best player in the world. Even though the Aces haven't been as dominant per se this year, she still looks very much so like the best player in the world, and has still put up one of the best seasons in WNBA history. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing really else to discuss. All right, Asia's the MVP. She continues to dominate, and it's been very, very fun to watch. Shout out to Bamonte. If you know, you know. But yeah, Asia still tops in the world. All right, tops in the world. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we have reached the roundup, and all right, man. You know what? Let's go to NASCAR. All right, let's go to NASCAR. It was last race of the season. All right, last race of the season. Unfortunately for Bubba. By the way, I mean, very interesting weekend for 23XI. By the way, Bubba unfortunately gets caught up in a crash, even though he was on pole. Fortunate circumstances, he doesn't get caught up in the crash, and that's the end of the road. All right, he doesn't make the chase, doesn't make the playoffs. But Tyler Reddick does win the championship, despite the fact that, in his own words, he was throwing up and in his pants in the car, which has to be rank. But credit to Reddick for thugging it out, so he wins the regular season championship. However, the day belonged to Chase Briscoe because he does get that very, very valuable win to put him in the playoffs. So yeah, shout out to Chase. And yeah, now we're set for again. Playoffs are very controversial, very, very controversial. I like it as an idea. I'm not sure how much I like it as a concept in action. But, it is what it is. It's brought some really good moments. It's brought some, I feel like this driver got screwed over moments. So, I think it's kind of in flux. We'll see if they do anything to change it. Let's talk about F1, though. Because even with NASCAR's solid, I won't say brilliance necessarily, F1 still stole the show this week, okay? Monza. Of course, it's the Ferrari home race. And you know what? They look strong with the free practices. Even speaking about the free practices to get this over with, of course, Kimi Antonelli makes his debut in a Mercedes car. Looks really fast, by the way. But unfortunately bends it. But, I think Toto did the right thing. He's comforting. This is the guy that's supposed to be the next one, right? You don't want to kill. You can teach, right? Kimi has the stuff you can't teach. You can't teach speed. You can't teach instinct. You can make somebody a safer driver. But you can't teach his speed. And if you berate him, right, in that moment, then you might kill that confidence that makes him different. So I think they handled that well. Unfortunate, though, for Kimi, because I think a lot of people were excited to see him, what he could do in that FP1, in that, Mercedes. And, credit to George, because, got back in that car, they fixed it back up, and, he had a really good drive at Monza. So, yeah, unfortunate for Kimi, but he does get announced, as we all knew, as Lewis Hamilton's replacement. He took that well in stride. It's going to be very fun. A lot of rookies coming next year to F1, which I think was very, very necessary. However, the day belonged to Charles Leclerc. Forza Ferrari. The Tifosi went crazy because Charles did a masterclass, which honestly it's back-to-back weeks, but it was a masterclass for Charles. All right, a masterclass. You know what? Tires are supposed to degrade. Nobody told Chuck. Nobody told Chuck. Nobody told Chuck, apparently. All right? Because those tires did not degrade, and he held on and was able to outwit the McLaren boys, who have been dominant as of late and were dominant on this day. But it was Charles. All right? He wins both home races. He wins his actual home race in Monaco, and he wins Monza for a second time. But yeah. He looked like the king of Italy. I mean, they were literally calling him the king of Italy. So, yeah. Shout out to Charles. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. Forza Ferrari. But, yeah, Oscar and Lando. Papaya Rules was the motive this week. Don't know if they got violated. But, yeah, very interesting. Lando was very upset, though, because Red Bull is still in flux. They just don't got it anymore. And, yeah, it's not looking good. But Lando wants a championship, man. He wants it bad. It's like a switch is flipped with Lando. Or maybe it's been in there, the whole time, like I said, which might be the switch. Where he's really feeling, I think he's really feeling the pressure of, oh, I have the best car. I need to win. I need to win. Because, again, part of it, F1, it can change. As you've seen with Red Bull, it can change very, very fast who's got that car to win the championship. And maybe he just knows the importance of that, and that's where, the stress is coming from. But he has been on edge. All right, as much as I love Lando, he has been on edge. Hopefully, he sorts out whatever he's feeling because it hasn't been the prettiest thing to watch. And it's somewhat, I feel like, deteriorating his relationship with Oscar. And they were really good earlier in the season, but yeah, I don't know. When the stakes and the pressure starts being applied, things can change, and feels like it might be changing. And McLaren does need to tread carefully. All right, they need to show that they can handle being a top team with two top drivers, and they can handle any type of tension or competitiveness that comes with that. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. Of course, Logan Sargent got fired last week, so Franco took over and had a very good first race. And a lot of people were like, don't know how they feel about it, but Franco did very, very well for himself, so credit where credit's due. Let's talk about baseball. It didn't get a main subject this week. Nothing crazy really happened. But we'll go through some stuff really quickly, like the White Sox being 31 and 107. I am so sorry. So sorry to y'all. I don't even know who I'm sorry to, honestly. If it's just the fans, or it's to the team, or just it's just bad. All right? It is just hopeless. Like, it's bad out in Chicago. Historically bad. But maybe it'll get better. Alright? Maybe it'll get better. Hey! You get Ethan Holiday. You get one of the Holiday kids. There you go. Ohtani continues his bid for 50-50. He's at 44-43. For those keeping track. And if the Dodgers play today, he'll probably increase that total. But yeah. Ohtani, we talked about it last week, so I won't really harp on it. But yeah, once in a lifetime. Alright? He's not generational isn't enough for Ohtani. He's a lifetime-ino player. All right, once in a lifetime. I do have to give a shout out though to Tariq Skubal for the Tigers, by the way, who currently has the pitching triple crown in the AL. 16 wins, 2.51 ERA, and 201 strikeouts. So something to watch. We own triple crown watch, not just for Judge though. Even though he kind of cooled down this weekend, but the Yankees did not play well for whatever reason against the Cardinals. But normal Yankee stuff. U.S. Open, of course, is going on, and everybody's getting upset. All right, all of your favorites are gone. All right, Iga obviously wasn't in this tournament, I don't think. Noel and Carlitos got upset back-to-back days. Carlitos fell, and then Noel fell the day after. Coco lost. So, yeah, all of your favorites are gone. So, I think we're going to have a very unexpected winner. But it has opened the door for some of the lost generation, or maybe for an American to make a run, especially on that men's side. I mean, even so, with Emma beating Coco on the women's side, but still, you got some dogs like Rybakina and Sab still hunting there on the women's draw. But, yeah, a lot of the top dogs we've seen this year, all gone. All right, it's the players that have dominated the majors and dominated tennis this year, minus Sinner, who's still sticking around. We'll see if he can get his second major and join Carlitos. But, we'll talk about what happens next week because, yeah, looking very, very interesting. Scottie. He gets it done. What a year. All right, it was him and Xander, right? Colin Morikawa, though, does finish second. But Scottie does win the FedEx Cup and make 63 minutes. Can you come play my student loans off, Scottie? I need like 2% of that. All right, 2% of what you made this year, even after taxes. And you can just take away all of my issues. All right, so Scottie, if you see this, look out for your boy. All right, look out for your boy. But he does win the FedEx Cup, 30 under. Again, he's the best tennis. He's the guy. I almost said tennis because I was talking about tennis before. But he's the best golfer in the world. Undisputed. Simply put, undisputed. Shout out to Scottie Scheffler. What a year. Olympic gold, Masters, FedEx Cup. I mean, hey, Xander, solid number 2. I mean, a great year to be the number 2, but it's Scottie's time. He's that guy. So, yeah, shout out to Scottie for getting it done. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it, all right? NFL next week, okay? NFL will be back, and we'll be talking about that. Going to try to figure out how I'm going to do that as well, with me, of course, having to record on Sundays, but, we'll figure it out. We'll be talking football. But, yes, the NFL is back. So, yeah, definitely the most wonderful time of the year. Welcome to September as well. The year's flying by. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho signing off.